When OP's girlfriend gets a part-time job as a babysitter, it's not long before she falls for the charm of her new boss. Unfortunately for her, though, her secrets don't stay a secret for too long, as OP quickly finds out what's going on. To find out how this story ends, get yourself a coffee and grab a bowl of popcorn so we can get into it.
My girlfriend and I are in our early 20s. We have a son together and our relationship was great. We never argued, got along great, and never really had any major issues. I worked hard to afford our home and tried my best to make it to where she didn't have to worry about anything, just our son. She loved being a stay-at-home mom, and so did I. But things changed when she wanted to start working and make her own money. And to be fair, I was all for it because it would lessen my stress and allow us to afford things we couldn't buy before. She wanted to babysit, even if it meant she was only getting around $100 or so a week. In any case, something was better than nothing. I reassured her that she didn't have to work because I was doing fine taking care of it on my own. Granted, we didn't have much free money, but the bills were paid and there was food on the table, which is what really matters. She understood and told me that she'd feel a lot better if she was able to help me out, and that it would make her feel like she'd be contributing more to our household. Again, I told her that she was doing more than enough by taking care of our son, and for the most part kept the house as clean as she could, even with having a 2-year-old around. That said, we agreed for her to get a babysitting job, and she did so rather quickly. She met a guy who had 2 daughters who needed a sitter Monday to Friday, and she'd be doing it between 8 in the morning until 4 in the afternoon. This babysitting gig meant that she'd be making at least $300 a week, which sounded great. A week goes by, and the guy who hired her, who we'll call Shane, starts to compliment her on how well she's doing with his girls, and that they really like her. He even started hitting on her. At this point, I didn't know he was putting the moves on my girlfriend because I usually work a night shift around 2 p.m. until 11 p.m. She did let me know that he was trying it on after I got home one night, so I asked her, "Have you told him to stop?" And she told me, yes, so I wasn't too worried about it because I trusted her and she always let me know about stuff like this. I'm not the type of person to look through my significant other's phone because it shows signs of distrust. But her, on the other hand, always looked through mine, but I didn't really think much of it because I had nothing to hide. Anyway, another week goes by and he compliments her some more. He even sends her text messages, which she showed me. At this point, she hadn't responded to him. So I asked her again, "Did you tell him to stop? Have you let him know that you're already seeing someone?" On top of his flirting, I was aggravated because he hadn't paid my girlfriend for babysitting, and it had been 2 weeks since she started. And all this time, I've been paying for the food that his daughters are eating. He kept making up stories as to why he hadn't paid, and I wasn't liking it at all. But another week goes by, and he finally pays her. And at this point, we were beyond hurting for groceries. And I was still annoyed because he owed my girlfriend $900, but only paid $300. Anyway, let me carry on. We get in the truck so we can do some grocery shopping. Then the 2 girls that she was babysitting said they didn't want to go, and would rather go to the pool instead. We have a big town pool that costs $20 for all of us to go to. So my girlfriend suggested that we go to the pool before doing the grocery shopping. But I said, "No, the pool is secondary. We can get the groceries, and then if we have money left over, we can go to the pool." My girlfriend started to argue with me, defending the girls about wanting to go to the pool. The fight ended with me driving off with our son. I took him to see my mother so I could get my mind off the argument. I told my mom about the situation, and she went to have a few words with my girlfriend, which got pretty heated too. I don't know what I was hoping for or why she was acting this way, but I wasn't liking it. Granted, my mother shouldn't have got involved, and I never meant for her to stick her nose in, but she was the only person I could talk to at the time. My sister soon joined in on the drama, but was actually able to calm everyone down, and offered to have a girls' night out with her. I thought it was a good idea because it would allow me and my son to spend some time together. Later that night, once they were done partying, I picked them up and my girlfriend was really drunk. She was so drunk that I had to carry her inside and take care of her while she puked. Soon after, I see a text message come through on her phone, and it was from Shane, the guy she was babysitting for. The text message said, "Good night, beautiful," which left me pretty confused because she'd told me that he stopped hitting on her. Because of this text, I checked the rest of their messages, and what I read shattered my heart. I didn't know what to do, so I just sat at the kitchen table for an hour staring at the wall. I called her stepdad because he works the night shift and explained the situation to him. I was raging, but he calmed me down and told me not to do anything stupid that I might regret. I went around the house and grabbed a few things that I bought for her and smashed them into pieces outside. After that, I grabbed my son and went to a friend's house who had a spare room for us. The messages I saw on her phone were pretty bad. She was sexting with Shane, and they were both talking about me in a bad way. And this had been going on for about 2 weeks. Every morning, they would start the day by calling each other beautiful, handsome, sexy, and all that good stuff. And the fact that this was happening around Father's Day made it hurt even more. There were messages between them in which they discussed when I'd be going to work or coming home. Needless to say, I didn't sleep that night. I returned home in the morning and she asked me if I wanted to end the relationship, to which I responded, "Yes, definitely. We need to figure out a way to get you back with your family." Her family lives on the other side of the country, so we'd need to get her plane tickets. We continued talking, and she tried to point out that my family members have cheated on people, and that not all relationships are 100% loyal. To be honest, it seemed like she was trying to find reasons to justify her wrongdoings without feeling guilty about it. She didn't even apologize for what she did, but we sat on the couch and talked a while longer. Eventually, I gave in and said that we can try to work through it, but the only thing that was really on my mind was my son. I wanted to be there for him, and if I had split up with my girlfriend, she would have moved back to her family, and I wouldn't be able to see him that much. A month goes by, and things weren't looking good. I tried to get along with her, but every chance I got, I would argue and throw her cheating in her face. I could never look at her the same again, and she didn't seem to understand that. At this point, I was done. I didn't want to be with her anymore, and I didn't want my son to see an unhealthy relationship between his parents. I chose to break it off, and we'd have to do our best to co-parent. She finally apologized and said that she knows she messed up and wants me to give her a second chance, but I told her that some mistakes have consequences you can't fix. I explained how I felt, and how we should have moved on when she said that she didn't need me, and that I was the one throwing away a 4-year relationship by taking the easy way out and leaving. Another few months go by, and she kept asking if there was any chance of us getting back together. I told her that I didn't know, but it's unlikely. She continued to ask me about it, and I gave her the same answer every time, but she'd send me relationship and forgiveness quotes for months. I asked her to stop multiple times, but she continued, and even sent me messages about how she loves and misses me. Fast forward to now, and I'm doing good, and I've got a great job. I'm working on myself, going to the gym, and speak to my son at least once a week, and I get him for the summer, which is exciting. I'm talking to a new girl right now, and we've gone on a few dates. She's absolutely beautiful, and I'm really starting to like her, but I don't plan on telling my ex about this because honestly, it's none of her business. The only time we should ever contact each other is about our son, nothing more. And once my boy gets old enough to have his own phone, we'll no longer need to talk to each other. I do want to add that she seems to think that we're getting back together. But again, I recently told her that it wasn't going to happen. I ignore her most of the time, and when I do answer, my messages are very short. I can't block her because she's my main contact to my son. And I don't want to fight for custody because she was a stay-at-home mom for 3 years. And to be fair, she's a great mom. She's never once threatened to keep him from me. And I don't think she ever would, but I also thought she wouldn't cheat either.
While cheating is never right, there are times in which I find myself thinking, you destroyed your life for that? I also find it odd that the second that OP's partner chose to get a part-time gig was the very moment she cheated on OP. I don't know. It seemed a little too easy for me. Can you imagine what would have happened if she got a regular office job? It's a good thing that OP got himself out of this relationship before wasting even more time on someone like this. Anyhow, those are my quick thoughts, but let's check out the comments before we call it a day.
PRB says, I bet if you asked her if she slept with the father of the year again after you broke up, she would either lie or admit that she did. I also bet she has somebody wherever she is now, but still sends you that stuff. Cheaters are selfish people. It's always about them, so I'm glad you stood up and didn't crumble. Hopefully the new girl will be a better partner. Wellman says, Hey brother, I'm glad to hear that you're doing well and that you had the self-respect to leave such a vile person. Your ex is the epitome of narcissistic and aloof. I wonder if she may actually have a place on the spectrum. Seriously. Either way, continue to blow her off and just concentrate on yourself and your son. If I were you, I would get a custody agreement plan drawn up by an attorney that gives you 50-50 custody and also has a no-contact clause except for matters pertaining to childcare. Keep doing what you're doing and keep dating this new girl. But remember, tread lightly, and this time, establish non-negotiable boundaries that prevent a recurrence of what happened with your ex and stick by those boundaries. The right girl will wholeheartedly agree to them.
If you have a good relationship, don't throw it all away for a quick thrill. And what's extra sad about this story is that the guy OP's girlfriend was sexting with didn't lose anything. Boy, what a waste. It will always amaze me how people can build up something for so long, only to throw it away for something meaningless. It didn't seem like they were in a bad spot at all, so why she chose to ruin such a thing is beyond me. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Coffee and Popcorn, and I can't wait to see you on the next one.